Welcome to Fresno State. My name is Eric Haddon. I'm the Executive Director of the Water, Energy, and Technology Center, a business incubator and accelerator here on campus. So I always like to do this when we start a presentation. How many students do we have in the audience? Very good. How many community members? How many alumni? Awesome. There we go. Well, welcome back to campus. On behalf of myself and the entire staff, it's always great to see our alumni here. Now, you alumni and students are a part of a huge conglomerate of Bulldogs throughout the Central Valley. This coming May, we will graduate 6,000 additional graduates who will go out into the community. They will build their careers. They will start their families. They will ultimately contribute over $1 billion to the local economy. So you are a part of a massive economic movement. And on behalf of the administration here at Fresno State, I wanted to welcome our Provost Zuneng Fu, to officially welcome all of you to Fresno State. Provost?
Thank you, Eric. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, students, faculty, alum, community members, supporters. You are really what we call it a university community, because you are all of us. We are all of you. And you represent the whole cycle of how we get into Fresno State, we stay in Fresno State, we leave Fresno State, but we're still part of Fresno State. So thank you for being here. I also want to thank Eric, his unit, his team for organizing this event. I'm super excited when he asked me, can I make it here? I said, I will make a point to be here because it's important to me. It's important to you. It's important to the university, to the community. Why? Because this is the true outcome of education. We offer education. We don't want our students just to come here, take classes, leave, then don't know what to do. What our students really need to learn, one-on-one education, is how to work with others, how to be diligent, be always there, follow orders, self-disciplined, know how to work with others. On top of that, if you are really good in your trade, you have to be, then you will be successful. So this is the basic education regardless of your training, discipline, major. But we are talking about something really delicious today, right? And this is art. Don't think, cooking is just cooking. Everybody can do it. No, this is art. This is science. This combines many different disciplines in the cutting-edge science. If you want to do this well, it relates to our health, our longevity, and our mental health too. If you do really well, you are true experts, and you should be so proud of you. So I know one of the themes this afternoon is the career path. I want all our students to pay attention to that and make sure you have the basis of education, as I share with you. How to be a good citizen to begin with. Don't try to brag yourself. Be modest. Learn from experts. Learn from people who made it. They can share with you the challenges, the falls they have experienced. We all have that. If you can't stand really high in society, in whatever field, I'm sure you have suffered a lot. You're hit on the head, hit on the back, hit on the leg, and all of that. And I'm no exception. I went through all the challenges you name it. But if you always hold your true self, you try to serve others, you respect others, you keep going, you sharpen your tools and better your trade, you learn from people who are successful, who are ahead of you, you will be there one day. This is the best thing you can learn from Fresno State because we are an open community. We want our alum come back to continue honoring us. We need community members to support us so we can make us a better university. Things have changed so much in the last decade. The mission of a university has gone way beyond just offering a classes a degree. It is community development, economy development, connection to become an economic engine, as we call it. What does that mean? And it means all of us need to work together to build our community, because our students come from the community, they stay in the community, they become generations of each generation just like you. So thank you. Enjoy your fireside, learn how to cook, and have a great weekend. Thank you.
Thank you, Provost Fu. And with that, I do want to tell you a little bit about what brings us all here together this afternoon. Feel free, come on in, find a seat. We are a business incubator and accelerator at Fresno State. Typically, we're working in the field of energy, agricultural, water technologies. We're bringing entrepreneurs from all over the world here to campus to start and grow their businesses. In fact, there's some of the entrepreneurs here this afternoon in the audience. One of the things that we found as we went through the entrepreneurial landscape of the Central Valley is that there is a tremendous need for food and food entrepreneurs and food entrepreneurship right here. We are the breadbasket of the world, and so many people that we meet in our own backyard have an idea or a concept for food, a business that they want to launch, but they really don't know where to get started. And so we were funded through a program through the USDA called the Culinary Catalyst that allowed us to service these early stage entrepreneurs. 2 local businesses that some people may have heard of, the Pie Mamas. They had a brick and mortar location downtown. They're in the process of moving and reestablishing themselves. And Spartan Hot Sauces, which was an MBA student, John, who has launched a hot sauce. It was available across the street at the Bulldog Grill. All of these businesses came out of the Culinary Catalyst. And really what we were trying to do over 2 cohorts was set these people up for success. Now, as many of you know, if you've read the headlines over the last year, there has been an incredible amount of turmoil and upheaval at the federal level. That program was rather unceremoniously cut by the USDA. But this is where the state of California really stepped in and has done something remarkable. The California Office of the Small Business Advocate is an office within the governor's office that is designed to support small businesses throughout California. We are the recipient of a grant, Accelerate California, here at the Wet Center. And CalOSPA said, we want to resurrect that program. We want to impact food entrepreneurship here in the Central Valley. And so this summer, we will be relaunching that program. And really, that's what we're here to celebrate this afternoon, is the opportunity for us to continue to service food entrepreneurs here in the Central Valley. Now, what better way to do that than bring in some folks that know all about food from one of the preeminent entertainment and hospitality companies in the world. And I can't wait to introduce you to our expert panel this afternoon. But one of the things that I want to focus on are some of the community partners that help us with this work as well. And that is the Central California Community Food Bank. An economy that is not fed cannot prosper. And there are a lot of people that are doing really good work here to make sure that our neighbors are fed. Yes, this is the breadbasket of the world, but there are a lot of people that are facing food insecurity on a daily basis. And so with that, I want to briefly bring up McKay Duran from the Central California Community Food Bank to talk about their work. And then I have Hank and Lisa Gutierrez, who run one of the distribution sites in a community, Malaga, which is just outside of Fowler, to talk about the impact they're having and their ability to feed the people right in their backyard. Okay?
Thank you so much, Eric, for the introduction and really the intentional highlighting of this issue in this conversation. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is McKay Duran, and I have the pleasure of working with all of our elected officials at the local, state, and federal level here in the Central Valley to help end hunger. And so, as you can imagine, me being the public policy and advocacy manager, government affairs manager, I'm not used to asking for money, and so it's not going to be that good of an ask today. I'm usually more inclined to ask for votes, but if anyone feels so inclined to support, I just want to mention that that's there. But what your support and the community's support, whether that be financial support or volunteers, that's always an opportunity as well. We like to say we accept treasure and talent. And so for every community that we're in, the 5 counties, Fresno, Madera, Kearns, Kings, and Tulare counties, we're serving over 300,000 neighbors each month, about a third of those being children facing hunger in our communities. And that's about nearly 300 member partner sites, one of which we're able to highlight today. So I want to give them the opportunity and time to do that. But just so you know, that's almost 60 million pounds a year. Can go up, can go down, like anything else. The market and things dictate that. But for every $1 contributed makes 4 meals. And so that's always a huge number that we appreciate to share. And more than anything, we are so thankful for the support of the community. And thank you so much for the opportunity to share about that today.
Thank you very much, McKay. And with that, I'd like to bring up Hank and Lisa Gutierrez to talk about the work that they are doing in the community of Malaga at the Malaga Market Pantry to make sure that community members, many of them children, are being adequately fed.
Thank you, Eric. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Hank Gutierrez. I'm the principal at Malaga Elementary. My wife, beautiful wife here, she's our pantry coordinator. I'm a proud graduate of Fresno State. I received my doctorate in 2021, and I was fortunate enough to be named the Dean's Medalist here at Fresno State. Two major elements that I studied in my doctoral research were adverse childhood experiences, also known as ACEs, and another relatively new subject called community schools. And community schools are just exactly what they talk about, and that is bringing the school together as a community. When I took the position as principal at Malaga Elementary just over a year and a half ago, almost 2 years now, I took some time to really review the data. And what the data told me was our students were performing at a level where I was happy with the results, but I knew our kids could do way, way, way better. I have high expectations of my students at Malaga Elementary. The one thing that I knew was I could fuse those two elements together, one being my research on breaking the barriers to academic success, but also bringing the community together in Malaga. Fuse those two things together, and I told my wife, I said, you know, we have an opportunity here, our very first back to school night, my very first introduction to the community as their new principal. So I looked at my wife and I said, you know what? I want to just take a leap of faith here, and I want to bring fresh produce to my school. I want to bring shelf-stable foods to my school, and I just want to see how our community would respond to that. It was phenomenal. We had the highest attendance at our back-to-school night that night. My wife got to meet all of the community members that some of it already knew, and it was an overwhelming success. Our families were walking away with tons of food, literally tons of food, all through our partnership with the Central Cali Food Bank. She's the catalyst for that, so I'll let her talk a little bit about that partnership.
Hi, everyone. Oh, the microphone. Hi, everyone. What I really learned is that food and having access to it or your relationship with it can really, really, really change your life. Like my husband mentioned, we run a Malaga Market Pantry, completely run by volunteers and donations, in which we have a monthly distribution for the community where we can hand out fresh produce, all for free. We have also established an on-site market pantry that's stocked daily. There's one of the photos there. Some healthy stuff, some good stuff, but it's accessible to our staff and teachers every single day. So what started as a challenge to combat barriers to good learning turned into something I really, really, really began to learn more about, and that is how all of this impacts everybody's ability to participate in the local economy. We were very, very intentional around eliminating the shame and the stigma of coming to get free food. Our messaging and marketing was very, very, very clear and specific. We wanted them to have an experience, not a treacherous experience with standing in line to receive free food. So we're very intentional with what we try to procure with our donations that we get. We want to make sure it's easy for the children to use, accessible and easy for parents to use, and readily available at all times. So what I'm starting to learn is our monthly market pantries run by parents and community members are turning into more of an event and a destination rather than just a treacherous experience. The pantry, like I said, is open every day, all day. And once a week, I will go after school and actually sit outside and invite parents to come in and see what they would like. I don't ask them what they need because there's a huge difference between needing and wanting and liking. So they get to come in and see what they like or what they can use. And that has become more of an event. I see the kids run after school and line up. I get tons of hugs, and I hear a lot about how much this has helped. Sometimes you can see the need, and sometimes you can't. But I hear often how much it has helped, even with the ability to receive free produce and allocate that money into a different part of their life. I see the same thing for teachers as well. Teachers serve with an enormous heart, and that often leads them to spend a lot of their own pocket cash adding supplies to their classroom or bringing snacks for their kids. So having this readily available for them allows them to come and get what they need and spend their own personal cash in other parts of the economy. We have a bunch of students in here. We have several students that work on our campus through the Teaching Fellows before and after school program, and they are also welcome to help themselves to anything they would like in our pantry. We didn't include another picture, but there's two more shelves, one that has bath and body products and another shelf that has cleaning products. So they are more than welcome to come and get what they would like. And I love it.
So, as I mentioned, the ACEs, adverse childhood experiences, one of the elements of that really flies under the radar are what we know as food insecurities. So we've taken away that barrier in real time on our campus. I'll give you an example. You have a first grade student that comes to school, not studying very well, just kind of maybe a little bit off task. Teacher finds out, you know what? He didn't have breakfast that morning. My teachers are able to go to the pantry, literally steps away, get a snack, and address that barrier in real time. That is the magic of this. And I'll tell you some more magics since the theme of today is about magic. Imagine this, our school, when I started, had a chronic absenteeism rate of 25%. We have literally dropped that by 70%. As of today, when I left the office, our chronic absenteeism had dropped to 6%. It gets better. We had a overall attendance rate of about 90%, meaning that on a daily basis, 10% of our kids were absent. As of today, our overall attendance has raised to 95.9%. Our kids are coming to school because they know that their school cares about them. When our kids and their families are able to come to our market pantry every week or our monthly distributions, our kids, even at an age of 9 or 10, they are seeing that their school is protecting and caring for their family. So when they come to school each day, they're going to give me their best, and they're going to rise up to those expectations that I talked about earlier. So I have many years of experience of being a principal, but this project that my wife and I took on has probably been one of the most rewarding in my life, because I'm seeing the day-to-day direct real-time benefits to how it's affecting our kids. So I really appreciate your time, and I love what we do. And so thank you, Eric, for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hank, Lisa, thank you again. If you are so inclined, as you saw, this evening's event is admission free, but if you would like to donate, there is an opportunity out on the cocktail tables. We have a reception at the conclusion of the event. There is a QR code there that you can scan with your phone if you are so inclined to donate. Just a few thank yous before we get started in earnest. There is one individual I have to thank specifically, because if not for him, tonight never would have happened, and that is my friend, my mentor, Juan Mejia, who was there in the back row. Juan is the connective tissue between myself and this wonderful group of people who have come from Anaheim down here to the Central Valley to share their experiences with us. So Juan, thank you. Thank your wife, Stephanie. She is a representative of Sunmade and really rolled out the red carpet for them yesterday, and they had an opportunity to tour one of the most iconic brands in all of the Central Valley. So Juan, Stephanie, thank you very much for bringing us all together. And I want to thank my team as well, Peggy, Kent, Chastity. I know she's floating around here somewhere. I have the very unique privilege of working with some great individuals every single day, without whom none of this would be possible. So thank you to all of you for the contributions you make every single day and how fulfilling you make this work. So thank you for being a part of our team. Now, I have been told, as many of you are likely fans of the Disney brand, I have been told that Disney is really a law firm that happens to operate a theme park. And so, with that in mind, one of the first things I need to do is read this evening's disclosure that the views and opinions expressed this evening are those of our individual presenters and do not necessarily reflect the views, positions, or policies of the Walt Disney Company. So with that in mind, let me welcome our esteemed guests to the floor this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Todd Collier. Since graduating, yes, please. Since graduating from Lindsay High School in 2004, Todd Collier has carved an illustrious path in the culinary world. His journey began at Mr. G's, a local pizza shop in Lindsay, California, sparking a lifelong passion for food. After earning a degree from the California Culinary Academy in San Francisco in 2007, he set the stage for a career that has been defined by excellence and innovation. Todd has refined his craft at several Michelin star restaurants across the West Coast, including renowned establishments such as Chez Tiget. I'm probably going to butcher these. These are Chez Tiget. Okay, very good. Madeira, Manresa, Archipelago, Adam, and Garibaldi's. See, I'm not the caliber that would be invited to such establishments. That's how nice these are. His talent and leadership have led to prominent roles as executive chef at Google's Mountain View campus and later as food and beverage director at Uber. Embracing entrepreneurship, Todd co-founded The Whole Cart, growing it into a successful fleet of 32 food trucks that refined workplace dining experiences. Now based in Southern California with his wife Lori and their daughter Leah, Todd has realized a lifelong dream by joining the Walt Disney Company. As sous chef at the exclusive Club 33 and 21 Royal, he contributes to Disney's most elite dining experiences. Under the mentorship of culinary director Andrew Sutton, executive chef Gloria Tay, and general manager Christopher Moran, Todd continues to grow as a creative force in the industry, bringing passion, precision, and purpose to every plate. Ladies and gentlemen, Todd Collier. Yvonne Medina, assistant manager at Club 33 and 21 Royale. With a distinguished 21-year career at the Walt Disney Company, Yvonne Medina is recognized as a selfless leader dedicated to exceptional guest experiences and cast member experiences. Raised in Pasadena, California, she began her hospitality journey at the historic Queen Mary, coordinating VIP events and overseeing banquet operations. Yvonne joined Disney Hotel and Resorts, quickly rising through leadership roles in high-end outlets and earning a reputation for warmth, integrity, and operational excellence. She later became a key contributor at the Napa Rose, helping elevate service standards and supporting the restaurant's acclaimed success. After a decade at one of California's premier dining destinations, Yvonne was recruited to Club 33, where she continues to shape its culture and uphold its legacy of excellence. A respected mentor and advocate, particularly for minority women, Yvonne is known for her resilience, generosity, and passion for service, inspiring others both within Disney and beyond. Yvonne, thank you so much for joining us. And please welcome Christopher Moran, General Manager of Club 33 and 21 Royal. Christopher is a graduate of the world-renowned Culinary Institute of America, where he earned a degree in culinary arts and a bachelor's degree in hospitality management. With over 20 years of experience in premier resorts, acclaimed restaurants, and exclusive private luxury clubs, he brings a wealth of knowledge in luxury service, operations, and guest experiences. His leadership philosophy is shaped by principles acquired through military officer training, as well as through the guidance of personal mentors, professional experiences, and the study of industry experts. Christopher is known for his passion for creating exceptional experiences, delivering surprise and delight moments, and building meaningful connections with members, guests, and teams. Over the course of his lifelong journey, Chris has found a true home at Disney, an extraordinary company where leading Club 33 represents a true dream come true. With that, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our panel, and I can't wait to get into our topics. Now, I've had the opportunity to spend both today and yesterday with them, and I will tell you that regardless if you are a student or a community member or somebody who's already established in your career but you're looking for additional insight, the knowledge that you're going to gain from these individuals really is incredible, because so many of us, when we first visit a Disney park, it is all about the magic. And of course, the theme of this afternoon's event is magic. But then as you get a little older, you find out that the magic is only possible because people make it happen. They make the magic happen. And that magic is really derived around persistence, precision, culture, execution, all things that we can apply regardless of our background or career. So I'm really excited to have this conversation with all of you. But let's first start. I know I read a little bit about our backgrounds. Is there anyone here who doesn't know what Club 33 and 21 Royal are? Maybe we can start with a description of those. Who'd like to go first?
Yeah, so 21 Royal and Club 33, they're sister restaurants. They're one of the most exclusive places at the Disneyland Resort and in the Disneyland company itself. So Club 33 exclusive membership, where you're able to really have a reprieve from the park and really have a curtailed service to you with fine dining and excellent service. And then 21 Royal, that one's kind of a hidden gem. So that is a dinner for 12 guests. We operate 4 nights a week, and it's 6 to 7 hours long. The most premier dining experience that we offer in the company, and it's fantastic. And I'm very honored to represent the club and 21 Royal. And a fun fact for myself, I'm actually born and raised here in the Central Valley, Lindsay, California. So this means a lot to me to be able to come here and speak for Fresno State. A lot of my family is they're here, so it might get a little emotional for me at some point. But they're all, Fresno State alums as well, so it means a lot to them as well that we come here and represent from our family. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you for being here.
Yes.
One of the things we had an opportunity to do earlier this morning was visit some high school students over at the Patino School for Entrepreneurship. And one of the first things that you said, Todd, was really talking about when you were in their position, you were a young person, you couldn't wait to get out of the Central Valley. And that career has taken you all over the world. But you said, you think about where you want to go, think about the elements and the leadership skills that you want to acquire early in your career. It's never too early to do that. But you've come full circle and you've come back to California. What does it mean to be able to influence young people like that, whether they be in the company or they're even younger, and set them up for success in their careers?
So yes, very young age, I was very excited or wanted to leave the Valley. I didn't really appreciate what I had in the beginning. Especially, within such a small town, there's not a whole lot going on. So I was really, really excited to just get out and be on my own. I think my mom even remembers a quote that I said, "I can't wait to get away from you." But that was a quote that she reminds me of. But coming from the Central Valley and moving out to the big cities and working in the culinary world, I started to appreciate my upbringing because it gave me a leg up here, understanding where food comes from, and the hard work ethic that's instilled in our youth here. You don't really see that outside the Valley. So it was definitely a unique experience, being able to take what I've learned here and apply it, and it gave me a leg up against a lot of other chefs that were competing for certain positions. And I was very fortunate, and knowing all that, right, as I got older, it made me really appreciate and miss where I came from. So yeah, I think a lot of times, as students here, you probably all born and raised here in the Valley as well, really, really treasure the moments that you have here, reflect upon what you've learned. You might not be understanding that you're learning a lesson, but what the Valley offers you will take you really, really far in your career, and I'm so grateful for that. So, and I appreciate it. And again, I'm luckily I'm here speaking to y'all. So, yeah.
Chris, you have a very interesting background as well. We talked a little bit about your biography a moment ago, but your military service, and what I picked up from hanging out with you, is that really has affected and shaped your leadership style, the way that you view culture, the way that you build teams. How instrumental was your service in building and shaping your career?
I think it started when I was a child as well. I come from a military family, and you're called to service. And albeit in the hospitality industry, I would say it's selfless service, and selfless service in the military, selfless service in food and beverage. The correlations are quite similar, to be honest with you, but a little bit different outcome. But we are doing something for somebody else. We are doing something not necessarily for ourselves all the time. And I think by realizing the mission is not about you, but about the success of your people, that's what's really defined it, because we can't be successful as leaders without investing in the people that do the hard work for us. So.
All right, Yvonne, I want to ask you a Club 33 specific question. So we have a lot of Disney devotees. What is one thing about Club 33 that would surprise even the most devoted Disney fan?
I think probably it'll sound cliche saying this, but really what we do there is so different, because it's, when you go there, it's really truly an experience of interacting with our cast. Our cast, well, we refer to our employees as cast. We really encourage them to connect with everybody who comes and visits us, whether you're a member or it's your first time or your fifth time coming, remembering who's coming back, welcoming them back. And our cast are so good with that. They can connect with our returning guests, with our members. They remember favorite cocktails. They remember allergies, intolerances. They remember stories that they've shared about their children. So when you make those connections with those who visit our space, it means so much. It makes it very personal. And I think oftentimes when people come in or they hear about Club 33, oftentimes they think our cast are maybe a little snobbish, or because it is exclusive. It's a very exclusive place. But, we're also human. And like Chris said, we are there to serve. And being in the service industry, being in the food industry is definitely... It teaches you humility, and there's so many ways that you can connect with people that it really goes a long way. The tiny details go a long way.
And I think that was a point that the two of you made this morning to the young entrepreneurs that we were speaking to. And that is, regardless of where you are, if you're thinking about starting a business, maybe you're in your career, those attention to details, that ability to pick up on the little things, to invest in relationships, that can make a huge differentiator in terms of the success of your career, the success of your business. But that is a skill, and it's a skill that is honed, it is acquired. I don't necessarily, certainly not for me, it doesn't come naturally. It's something you have to practice. Your organization, and that's one of the things that makes Disney such a renowned brand, is that culturally, that is precedent. That is tip of the spear. You have to pay attention to these things. What is that like? How do you continue to foster that across the organization? You're in the hospitality side, but this extends to cast members who are operating attractions as well. What is that like to operate in that type of environment?
Whoa, that's a really good question. It's very nuanced in itself as well. So how we are able to elevate guest experience, right? It's the attention to detail with every guest that comes through the door, whether it be they're celebrating an anniversary, a birthday, all right, for first time visits. It's really learning your clientele, right? And basically, I would say trying to figure out exactly what their expectations are and trying to exceed that, right? So a lot of times when you're dining with Club 33, it's very expensive, right? Whether it be, hey, we're going to drop this off and this one's going to be on the house, it's going to be free, right? That is, like Chris was saying earlier, this is an opportunity to build a client that's going to come back and see us again. It's really important. You're building a trust in the brand, and that's what the Walt Disney Company is. It's building trust with the families. We're a family-oriented company. They have a certain level of expectations from us, and that is something that we really strive to put into our cast members, that we need to make sure that our clientele trusts us with what we're doing. We have a lot of different allergies that come through. They need to be able to trust that we're going to take care of them. So yeah, I think trust is a huge part of building that with your clientele and your guests, and really, elevating the level of experience. So yeah.
Can I piggyback up?
Please.
You got it, Chris.
Working at Disney, it's important. We've all, most of us in this room, you raised your hand. You said, yes, I love Disney. And why do you love it? Because of a certain memory that was created at Disney. There's a reason why you're coming. It's that emotional connection that we did something right at one point. So that's a huge responsibility. We have to live up to that every single day. So you'll see me. I'll be walking through in my nice business suit, which is I'm literally the only person that walks around in a suit in the park. So it's very odd. People look at me like, "Where are you? Can you help me?" Absolutely, come in. I'll pick up trash because it's not beneath me. It's actually, I get to do that. I get to help create that memory and that experience. But also, we don't have the luxury of having an off day. We simply do not. It's not at the park, not at the club. But one thing that we all cast members, we have in common, we kind of all drink the Kool-Aid, is we're there for a reason. We love it. We love what Walt created. We love the tradition that Lillian wanted to give to guests coming in, making them feel like it's home. Now, do we get it perfect all the time? Absolutely not. But I think everybody has positive intent. When you come in to Disneyland, when you come into club, come into Disneyland, we're all really happy that you're there. And I think that's a collective thing that we share. We're excited. So we want to get to know you. We want to get, and I'm speaking on very, very many cast members because I talk to many cast members, and we care about everybody's experience. And I think by doing that, you create that loyalty. You create that memory. Just even as the principal said, you create emotional connection. People want to keep coming back. So it doesn't matter if it's in food and beverage and hospitality, anywhere. You make somebody feel good, they're gonna come back. And I think that's something we do really well. But it's also something we can never forget, because if you don't have that, everything else we're trying to do, it's not going to work. Mm-hmm. So it's those small details. It's that tiny little attention to detail. Somebody sees me, my cast member sees me cleaning up a mess, they're going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to make a mess. Or a guest sees me, or another cast member sees us, a suit walking through the park, picking up a piece of trash, put it in the trash can. They're going to take more pride. They're going to be like, okay, obviously the leader cares. So, that's pretty cool. So I'm going to care. And then everybody's going to see it. The guest is going to see, the guest is going to drop something. So he's going to pick it up and go, wow, okay, I got that. Maybe they're not going to have that same experience at other theme parks.
Like Six Flags, for example.
Six Flags, Knott's Berry Farm.
I'm a big Six Flags guy.
There's a
At least I
reason why
was.
people
But
come to Disney.
All theme parks do a great job at offering
I like
something,
Disney.
I guess, with
I like Disney.
sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and also to kind of piggyback off of Chris here, as cast members, and we really get the buy-in of our cast, we have the opportunity to tell stories too, and share a little bit about who we are as people, and that's just that creates that human that connection with your guests, and it's really important for us because we care a lot about our servicing our guests in the hospitality industry, and that goes across the entire park, right? That is something that is still in every line of business, being able to tell a story. And the company allowing us that creativity to do that as well, you know, and just bring everybody and welcome everybody home, because it's a home to us. You know, huge Disney nerd for myself, and my wife. We got married there, but yeah, it's being able to share with everyone. So it's important.
You mentioned, you know, it is a home and you're hosting guests and you're forming connections with these guests. But anyone who's ever hosted a guest in their home knows it's also stressful, very stressful sometimes. You made an interesting comment yesterday. We were talking to somebody and they were asking you about the difference between a kitchen, like you might see on a show like The Bear, and real life. And of course, in the Hollywood dramatized version, it is loud, it is intense, there is a lot of pressure, there's a lot of heat. Yes, chef, things are clanking, banging. And one of the things I thought you said that was most interesting was, no, a quiet kitchen is the way to do this. Why is that so important?
So I hate The Bear, by the way. That's you know, I tried to buy into it. I watched the first episode, and then there's a scene in there where I'm watching, and I know that kitchen is supposed to be 11 Madison Park, and then I'm watching what they're plating, and they have these like julienne carrots that just look like poo-poo, right? and he's putting it on he's garnishing his plate. I'm like, that would never happen in 11 Madison Park. And then the whole like berating, yelling, and screaming. I was like, that's an awful kitchen to work in, right? I have, growing up, you know, in the culinary industry, I was a part of some of those kitchens. Some of those restaurants are no longer here. And the ones that stuck out the most, that were super, super high pressure, right? Everything's sense of urgency. They were extremely calm, right? Calm and quiet. Because noisy kitchens, you're going to put out not great food. There's not real good communication. And the 3 Michelin star restaurant I worked at, Man Ray, extremely quiet. So that's something that a lot of people don't understand, like what a kitchen is. They have this like Gordon Ramsay viewpoint of yelling and screaming. No, that's that's not what makes a great restaurant. And so when you're able to actually dial it in, and every cook knows their position, every chef knows their position, and it's like an orchestra, right? You don't really need to say something, right? There's quiet. Everybody knows what their next step is. And you train your staff well, that they know exactly what the next move is. And that creates good organization and minimizes or hopefully eliminates all mistakes that are in the kitchen. Not saying they don't happen. When they do, it's a little hectic. But as long as you stay calm and quiet, you're able to push through those challenges. So yeah, don't think The Bear is what cooking is. It's a great show, right? It's entertaining. Well, not a great show for me, but I mean, a lot of people here probably enjoy it. But yeah, that's what it truly is to be, you know, a chef at a extremely high level, is training your staff to know what your next steps are and to not, how would you say, make compromises in your food, right? You're always striving for excellence in it. And when you have that calm, quiet environment with a sense of urgency, that's when you can start to perform at your best and your max capacity.
So Yvonne, Chris, you're managing back of house. You're trying to control the chaos. We're getting this food out. It's at an exceptionally high level. You're dealing with the customers face to face and their disappointment, which is written all over it. Of course, they're expressing it to you. How do you manage those stressful, difficult situations?
She yells at him and tells him to get out.
Fair enough.
No. It's, you know, it is very challenging because when somebody is angry and they genuinely are angry that maybe their filet wasn't cooked to the temperature they wanted it, or the fish maybe is undercooked. Either way, I have found over time to try not to take it personally. Because truly, we are there. That is, when something like that happens, it's disappointing to us as well, because at that moment, you just took away from somebody's experience. That moment that they were having broke for that split moment where it was, we didn't meet that expectation, right? Because we always, like Chef Todd said, we strive to deliver, we strive to create memories, help be a part of it, not be a distraction. People love to dine together for various reasons. They come to celebrate anniversaries, birthdays, or just to have a nice evening out. And so we want to help create those memories and build on that. So the best thing that I have found over the years is just apologizing and being honest and making it right. Immediately connect with the chef. Immediately find a solution, and then aside from that, we go above that. We will make it right for them, and then we'll see. We listen to what's going on. If they're celebrating something, how can we create magic for them? Can we maybe call an attraction? And that's one tool, or we have many tools at our disposal that help us make it easier to make things right for people, because we have beautiful merchandise that we can also gift to people. So, we have a lot of tools, but it's being creative too, because not always wanting to just give away free things, right? But what else can we do? And when you genuinely, humbly just say, I am very sorry, you apologize, you're honest with them, they accept it, and oftentimes it just kind of diffuses and they realize, like, we're human, we make mistakes too, and I'm very sorry. And that genuine apology goes a long way. So
It sounds like the word you're describing is accountability, which is an increasingly rare trait these days.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'd like to piggyback a little bit on that. And I think we had this discussion before. We do often have some specific clientele that come in, and they are always challenging, as you might say, always in a bad mood. And, right? We have a few of them always in a bad mood. Trust me. Some of them happen to just be vegan, and you're like, well, maybe we should rethink that choice.
This is why we had the disclaimer
Yes. Sorry.
up on the screen.
I did forget to mention that both Chris and Yvonne they're here as my filters and to keep me inside the lines.
We're trying.
I'm coloring a little bit outside right now, but. So it's killing the person with kindness, focusing in on that person, right, and really paying a lot of attention to their needs, because something might have happened in their day that ruined it, and they're kind of just taking it out on us. And it's hard to really take that step back and realize what that individual might be going through, right? And so those are the people that need probably more attention than others, and really focusing in on them and hoping that you are able to change their outlook and change their day for the better. And that's a being part of the hospitality industry, is being able to turn it around, turn that corner. And I think that's really important. We've had that discussion before, right, Chris?
Several times. And I would say maybe they're not in bad moods, but they're very discerning. And people join a club because they want somebody to listen to them a lot of the times. Or somebody comes to Disneyland because we're renowned for our service. So they know that they're going to have an ear. And sometimes that's all it takes. And this is going to sound funny, but I cherish the moments where maybe there was a mistake to be made, or maybe there was an opportunity for us to fix something, because loyalty is built in recovery. Like, I will say, it sounds very odd, but you can create a more loyal guest by messing something up royally, and then but fixing it. And we are masters at recovery. We're masters of recovery, and it doesn't always have to be monetary. So sometimes when somebody says, "Oh, Chris, this table's very unhappy," I'll usually send Yvonne first, because.
And trust me,
can you go to that table real quick?
Yeah, I have messed up royally a few times in that restaurant. So.
But it's just, it's genuine empathy, listening to somebody. I mean, I wouldn't want to be in that situation. Let's talk it out. Let's see what we can do. But we are masters at that recovery because we care about their experience. We truly do. And I think once we're given that opportunity, we can create that loyal guest. And, from that loyal guest, we have a lot of, we call them first and last timers at club, because as a member of the club, you can invite a non-member to dine in our fine dining room. We have several different lounges, but that is one perk. And that's a once in a lifetime experience for people. So that comes with sometimes unrealistic expectations. Nobody's perfect, but we can try. We can always try to be. So I would say that at least the service recovery is kind of fun for us, because we know we're going to fix it, and we're going to do a really well job. And if we can't, we send them on Haunted Mansion, and everybody's happy.
They're fine.
That always works.
It would work for me, that's for sure. One of the things you mentioned this morning, and I think it's so critical for the students in the audience as well, was the importance of paying your dues. We're living in a society where increasingly we think success should be overnight. It should become more quickly than is reasonable. But the reality is, in every industry, you have to pay your dues. Why is that so critical for folks to understand? And how is it an understanding of that? How has that helped you in your career?
You want to take this one?
I'll start, because you're going to piggyback on it. We know that.
Yes.
Todd and I have a very close relationship. He's actually some of my favorite people in my life, not just professionally. So it's pretty cool to be up here and sharing our experiences. But I think paying your dues as a leader is really important, because you have to understand everybody's position. One, for clarity, so you know that they're staying efficient. But you can step in. One of my first jobs was starting as a dishwasher. In our industry, if you get started in the dishwasher, generally dishwasher, stewarding, busser, runner, server, bartender. So you as a leader, to get the respect, you have to have walked a mile in their shoes, right? Everybody's heard that. Not only making sure they're using the right chemicals or things are coming out clean, but to be able to go back and inspire people and say, you know what, I did it. And not only did I do it, I did it really well. So sometimes I'll still go back there. I'll polish. I consider myself probably the best brass polisher, because I have to be. Because if I go and do a sloppy job, they're going to hold me to account. Or if I run food, and God forbid I put the chicken in the wrong place, I'm going to get called out on that. But by having the fortitude to keep continuing to understand what they go through, maybe we can make changes on that too, because it's really tough. It's really tough to do that. And coming from a high profile position, and having to start over, that was really humbling. You have to swallow all ego. And one thing that my school is not really the best known for, and my school has developed classes to counter it, but everybody thinks, okay, I graduated from the best culinary school in the world.
No, he did not.
And it is the world's renowned culinary educational program in terms of culinary artistry. And
I believe you described it as the Harvard of culinary schools this morning. That's it, yes.
But no matter where you go, you're not an executive chef when you graduate. You're not going to be a general manager when you graduate a business program. You're going to be an hourly supervisor, and you're going to work your way up. And that's just it. That's the reality of it. And once the quicker you understand that reality, the more pleasurable your journey will be.
Yeah, and what's your military phrase for that? Embrace the suck. Yes.
Thank you.
So it's embrace the suck, and it's military thing, but it speaks a lot of truth, not just into our industry, but you can apply it anywhere else. I started off, making very, very little money, living in a very expensive city, San Francisco, right? Doing very not smart things, paying my rent on credit cards, which I should never have done, right? But at that time, at such a young age, I'm speaking to the college kids here, you have that opportunity because you don't have a lot of other financial responsibilities. You don't have a wife, you don't have a kid, hopefully not yet. But you're able to put yourself in a position to learn, right? You step out of this university, hate to say it, you don't know much, all right? You might know some basic knowledge, but when you come to the professional world, I was humbled really quick. You don't know anything, right? And you can't really skip that step of learning that on-the-job knowledge, right? I graduated from CCA, better school than CIA. So for me, I thought I was going to be some like Emeril Lagasse, right? Food Network, wadi. But when I was fortunate enough to make a connection, because it's a very small world we live in, and got to work under some great chefs, and they taught me this is not what food is. This is not the industry. You can't skip steps, right? You become a great chef by meticulously doing things over and over and over in repetition until you become an expert in that one thing. And then you move on to the next. So like washing dishes. No one's ever above washing the dishes. No one's ever above cleaning green beans, as he had a great pleasure of doing for a long time, tornadoing potatoes. You can't skip steps. It's not instant success. And what you're going to do is you're going to invest in yourself, right? Take that time as a young person, invest in yourself, the time, the energy to learn, right? There was a point where I had moved into Google, executive chef there. I wasn't learning a whole lot because I was the leader. And so I had a connection to work for a very prominent restaurant, Manresa. I took it. But the caveat was you sign up for 6 months to work for free. So I had to work 2 jobs, 6 months for free, and then I signed up to do an additional 6 months for free. And that was an investment I was willing to make into myself that pushed me forward, right? Pissed off my wife a lot because I was never home. But it was, at that time, we had the luxury of doing it, and it was extremely important to me to really develop myself. So young students, take that time, that opportunity. Every dish has been done before, right? You're just kind of reinventing the wheel. So staying trendy is it can be good and a bad thing, right? Good to know like where the food industry is going, right? Where the wine industry is going as well, right? But I think coming up with great ideas really stems from within who you become as a chef. So it's learning from a whole bunch of different mentors ahead of time. You start to become a copycat a little bit, but eventually what happens is that you start to mold all these things together. And from there, you're able to have a huge base knowledge of how things work. And you're able to slowly pair things together. A big way of how I create a menu idea is I start with the season, right? From the season, I go, what's the protein that I want to use, or what's like the fruit that's really big right now, and then I'll slowly build up from that. And I try to be extremely minimalist in approach, and then from that you showcase like the best product that you can get. I know I'm getting a little nerdy here on it, but this is when you're able to pull back and showcase some of the best food ingredients that you can get. That's when some of the best food comes out. But eventually what happens is that you start to create your own style. A lot of people in the industry are copying each other. I don't believe that's a great trend. It's kind of to be stand out and unique in your own way. So we're always trying to do that. Yes, we'll look at some pictures here and there for plating styles or whatnot, but we try to be authentic in our own creations, right? We don't want to try and mimic other people. So yeah, it's a double-edged sword for us. Just trying to stay up with where the food industry is going, but also being authentic Disney and put our own spin on things. But yeah, I don't know if I answered your question very well. Yes.
It's a little bit about being selfish too, because sometimes I look at it and say, what would I like? But most importantly, I think what we do, and we do a really good job about this, is we have a lot of homegrown talent. We have a lot of cast members that have been there for 10, 20, 30, 50 years. That was really easy. Hey, what do you guys want to do? What have you seen? What have you always wanted to do? What have you heard? And then we do it. And then we win together. And honestly, it builds a lot of loyalty, because it's not just us coming up with ideas. It's saying, you know what, we trust our cast so much. And when we try one of their ideas out, talk about creating loyalty. I mean, they're a lot of collaboration with the cast, with our bartending team, with our server team. It's you can't be you have to be selfless in those decision makings too, because that's how we win. Because we win as a team when we give somebody something really cool, like we're doing something really. I wish I could tell you what we're working on right now, but we're doing some really cool stuff, and it's all basically stemmed from the cast. like our Valentine's Day menu.
You'd definitely be surprised where great ideas come from that you wouldn't believe. So it's always being very open and humble to your industry and who you're working with, and being able to take feedback too. Yeah, sometimes you come up with an idea that you think is great, but everybody else says that's kind of sucks. So being able to take the feedback too, and being able to know when to scrap something and move on to the next idea or adapt it into a different way. But yeah.
I was going to say, I like to hear collaboration, and I think that's in any industry. It's always nice to be interested in collaboration.
Oh yeah, yeah. Chris gives me a lot of feedback on my food. Trust me. Yes.
I think though that when you collaborate, like we do a lot of collaboration with our cast members. They have really great ideas, but it continues to inspire them to bring ideas to us and not be afraid of holding back, right? And even like Chef Todd said, sometimes it's not a great idea, but when we talk about it as a team, you can start, other people can give input, and then that's where the collaboration starts, right? You go, oh yeah, we could twist it, do this or that. So it turns into something that is a great idea.
There was another gentleman who had a question here in the back.
Yes, my name is Matthew. I have a question for both Yvonne and Christopher, general manager and the assistant manager. What are some characteristics you look for in recruitment processes? What does that look like? Because you speak on having a good environment for people all around in Club 33 and Royal 21. What are some recruitment personalities that you look for, some characteristics?
I often look for warmth in somebody when I'm talking to somebody. It's really important to me if they're smiling, how warm they are. And oftentimes, I mean, there have been people who are super like there's a young kid, for example, I'll use him as an example. He didn't have experience in the restaurant industry. He worked at Galaxy's Edge on an attraction on Rise of the Resistance. But his interview, he was so genuine. He was excited, but not overly excited. He was so warm, and he was very professional too in how he spoke, and that made an impression with me. Even though he didn't have the experience, I'm like, I love his attitude. I love his genuine smile, his willingness to be helpful, his excitement. And that's what we love, because we are excited about what we do at the club.
Do you feel like people often diminish their personality in an interview to get the job?
Sometimes they do. Sometimes they do. And it's happened where we've brought in people and then you kind of go, oh, that was not a good, I didn't have good judgment on that. But you learn from that too.
For sure.
Those are all learning experiences. So.
Yeah, I agree completely. And I think it's a lot about personality and that willingness to learn. Show that you're willing to learn. We can teach you technical. I can make you the best server that you can be. We can teach you those service techniques. What we can't teach you is to be nice to your coworkers. We can't teach you to not panic. Well, we can teach you to kind of not panic under stress tests, but really, character. So I look for character first. Character is the most important. And just the willingness to be there. And I look at we have a great hospitality program close to us at Cal Poly Pomona, the Collins School. And a lot of times people say, oh, we don't want to hire college right out of college. And I say, you know what? I do because they're hungry, passionate students. You obviously have an interest, and I'm going to capitalize on that. We're going to put you in. I can't teach you to love what you do. I can't teach you to love this industry. And if you don't love it, you don't go get another major real quick. But if you do love it, you find a company that will. A good manager will see that. A good manager is not going to say, well, you just graduated Cal State Fresno and you don't know anything. And I beg to differ. I think you have more skills than you even think you have, because you have that passion and you have a willingness to learn and you're a blank slate. I will invest in that if you come to an interview saying, I want to learn. So that's what I look for.
I mean, at the end of the day, an ambitious person who's like imperfect is better than somebody who can get the job done and just act straightforward and almost fake, I guess you could say.
100%.
Yeah.
I've luckily had some, let's say, formal training on how to identify that.
I'm going to piggyback in real quick. So I had
We knew.
a similar conversation with my culinary director on how we're looking for, candidates and interviewing process. And he boiled it down very, very, very simply, right? It's, are you able to hold a conversation with that individual, right? So you learn a lot from that person by conversation, right? We can get into the nitty gritty, the details of where you worked, what you've done, what you know, what you don't know. But if I can't connect to you on a personal level and have a deep conversation with you, just being personable, you might not be a great fit for our position, our kitchen, the front of house as well. So I think a good skill set is being able to hold a conversation with the person that you're interviewing with, and that goes a long way, and I think is understated as well. So.
That's a good point.
I think we have time for one more, but I do want to remind everybody, we do have a reception at the end, so there will be an opportunity to ask these questions individually as we go as well. You were very quick with your hand.
How have you used failure to help contribute to your success, whether individually or within the restaurant?
So failure is it's inevitable, really, especially in the cooking industry. If you are constantly successful, you don't learn, right? So failure is a huge part of coming up in our industry. That's how you're able to learn. This industry, specifically cooking, it teaches you a lot about who you are as a person, right? There's no hiding, there's no lying, there's no hiding, trying to skate by. So I think failure is really important for those who are able to overcome it and learn from their mistakes. And it creates you really as a person. So failure is needed in our industry for you to be able to grow. So that's something that you need to be able to accept. And if you have a great leader, great manager, great chef, they will understand that, right? That's how I look at it with my cooks. I will put them in some positions, right, where I know they're going to fail, but that is intentional, right? So that they learn what not to do. And I think that's just extremely important. Growing development for our young cooks, because I have some of them that I'm old enough to be their dad, and it's very shocking to me because I think I'm still young, but apparently I'm not. And they call me what's the term you guys use? Unk? Is that like a thing? Right? So I am officially unk in the kitchen, and it bothers me, right? And those are the ones that I pick on the most, and I'm gonna make sure that if they're gonna fail, they're gonna learn a valuable lesson today when they call me that. So yes, yeah.
I would say for me, I've learned to embrace it. It is very difficult when you fail at something, especially because, you're trying, and then when you miss something or you realize your failure maybe really let other people down and has had an impact perhaps on more than one person, not just you, right? That's hard. But I've learned over time, just embrace it. Take a minute to step back, self-reflect. What could I have done better? What should I have, what were my resources that I didn't take advantage of? Pick up that lesson and keep going. Don't wallow in that. Don't beat yourself up. Just move forward. Use that to help you continue to move forward and share those experiences too, with other people. So, and understand too that you probably continue to fail at some point or other, but learning from that really is, it's humbling, but it helps your own personal growth. Like Chef Todd said, it builds character. It builds you into who you
Great question, and I think that's a lot of things that for the young students to understand is that you are going to fail, and it's how you adapt to that that's really important. So understand that. Don't be afraid about it. It is going to happen. So
It will happen, and it's trying to, I failed because usually my ego got in the way. So the more mature I got, and the more I understood, like, leadership's not about the ego. And then you try to say, why did I do that? And many times the answer is, I should have asked for help. I should have evaluated it and understood that I can't do this alone. You can't do anything alone. You got to have a good team. You got to have a good support structure. So I think that's what failure had really taught me as well, is trust. Trust the people around you. Trust your team. And then failure's diminished at that point. It's still going to happen, but you can get through it together. If you fail together, you can win together.
I think that's a great place to stop, but I want to offer the students one additional piece of advice, and that's mine. Chris and I have spent some time together. He's told me a lot about his Chrisisms, which are sayings that Chris has come up with. Little individual nuggets of knowledge. Hopefully you'll hear about some of them in the gallery. But I have an Ericism that I want to share with you, and the Ericism is this. If not for taking a risk at a dinner and saying, Todd, would you come to Fresno and come here and give a presentation, none of this would have happened. We wouldn't be here. So the takeaway for all of you students is take a risk. Go outside of your comfort zone. Ask somebody for something. Apply for the job you think you're not qualified for. You never know. You may end up surprising yourself. Chris, Yvonne, Todd, thank you so much for coming here. Thank you for your time. This has been amazing.
thank you. Thank you, Eric.
Yes, thank you, Eric.
This is a huge opportunity for me, right? Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Juan Mejia. Where are you? Thank you so much. It was just fate that we happened to meet, right? Central Valley. It's very important, and this was a great opportunity. So thank you so much.
Thanks for being here.
I think that's the question to come up here.